Thanks for watching. Today we're looking at a brand new truck, and when I say brand new, I really mean brand new. This is not anything that you have ever seen before, because it's a brand new brand. Let me show you the box first, because that way you get a tiny bit of a feel for what we're going to get into over here. So here you have it. Element RC Enduro Sendero trail truck. Now, here you think, what the hell, Element RC? Element RC is actually a new daughter brand or sister brand or whatever you want to call it of a Team Associated. That also means that because a lot of times when you see new trail trucks being made available, people are really apprehensive because of parts availability or lack thereof. This being backed by Team Associated means that you do not have to worry about that at all, because it will be solid. As you can see on the box and also on the table, this is a generic body, so it's not like anything licensed. It does come with licensed wheels and tires, but I do think that it looks really good. It actually does look like an 80s Silverado, so I'm thinking with a lot of 3D printed options available. Currently, I'm pretty sure that people will come out with a grill section that will actually look like, for example, a GMC or a Chevrolet, something like that. Their artwork super on point. So it says Element RC has that way marker. I think that's also completely tying in with the needs and the desires of us consumers. So also this Enduro has that mountain ridge. I think it really ties into the feel of what we expect. So we want to be out on the trails. We want to be sort of like off the grid, you know, every now and then checking that you can at least find your way back to the civilized world. And Element RC, I think they really captured the essence of what this hobby is about, at least in this segment of trail trucking. A ton of features. Now, usually I just hop over them because I go, yeah, it's boring. But in this case, actually, this is not boring. So this is a brand new gearbox system. This whole setup has overdrive built into it. Now that's unique, because I don't think there's any brand that has ever done that. If there is, then I do not own any of their vehicles. So instead of having like overdrive in the front axle, because that's how people used to do it so far, you can actually set it up to have overdrive in the gearbox itself. That's a lot stronger. It also makes sure that you can have some decent gears inside your pumpkins. So otherwise people sort of go for a sintered steel, sintered gears front and back. But these are actually hardened steel gears front and back inside your pumpkin, and then inside your gearbox you can set it up with the overdrive. So currently, out of the box, it is set up with 5.7% from the top of my head, 5.7% overdrive in the front, which makes sure that you can actually completely benefit from that true 45-degree steering angle and get your truck around the trails in a lot tighter fashion than you would otherwise. You can also gear it 1-to-1. That will be an optional gear, or you can even gear it 11.4%, I believe, overdrive, which you can do with the gears that you see available inside this extra parts bag. So that's basically option 2. That's also already available in case you want to have even more overdrive than is already installed. You can go ahead and do that. I'm seeing that it is actually 11.8% overdrive with that optional gear. So, well, there you go. There's a lot of other cool stuff going on inside the truck, but we will get into that in a minute. I need to show you the inside of this box first. So before you actually get like big samurai sword and ninja kick the living shit out of this box, don't, because you really want to keep the inside of this box looking tidy. Because once you open it up, there you go. It's a perfect display area, perfect diorama type of setup. Brick wall, overhead door, regular door, some posters, even some outlets, some oil stains on the floor. Super cool. Never seen any company do this. So this is a box that's worth holding on to and being careful with once you open it. Because once you sort of like slash it up completely, there's no return. The radio, I think a nice looking radio, a 3-channel radio, 3rd channel is right here. All of the other stuff is like you would expect it. So trim switches, reverse switches, your dual rate, endpoint adjustments. It's all there, 2 LEDs to indicate that it's actually on. There you go. I'm not sure if you can see that. Foam steering wheel. Feels pretty good, with a chrome rim inside it, with like some drift type of brake disc with a caliper, just to make it look a tiny bit more sporty, along with this faux carbon fiber type of pattern. Takes 4 AA batteries. These came already installed. I'm not sure if that's the case with everybody's truck, but in my case I was grateful to see those batteries there, because well, that's a good thing. This is the manual for the radio. Because you've never seen a radio and you go like, hey, what's this, you know, the weird telephone. Then go read that manual, because you will need it. Manual for the truck. Well, I think we'll be able to figure out most of it, but in case you want to dive into it, see what's what, get some more parts numbers, do some maintenance, or whatever, or go completely bonkers with all these cool stickers and sticker it up, you can go ahead and do that. Now, the truck itself, like I said, it looks a bit like a 80s Silverado, I think. So it has a lot of recognizable lines. I think especially this one going around the front and then also around the bed is a line that, I don't know, it opens up a lot of possibilities for paint. So for a generic looking body, I'm really liking what I'm seeing over here. This molded grille as well, it looks absolutely fantastic. This is a tiny bit in the spirit of, for example, the Axial, the Hancho, because there as well, there was like a lot of stuff that you could actually see in that truck. Some people thought it looked like a Toyota, like a Tacoma. Other people thought it looked like something else. But, you know, if you just let your fantasy do its thing and you just decorate it the way you want it, you can make it look like any type of truck. So this could be a GMC, it could be a Chevrolet, maybe if you're really creative you can even turn it into a Ford. I don't know. All I know is that it looks promising. I also like this gray color, tiny bit reminiscent of the Jeep Cherokee type of gray that you would find on the Axial SCX 10.2. So kind of like a primer gray. I think it looks good. It will also look great out on the rocks. A lot of detail already added. So for example, these wipers, also these collapsible mirrors. This is actually a lot stronger than you would initially think by looking at it. So when I took the truck out of the box, I was looking at those mirrors and I was like, not sure, but I think they will last perhaps 20 minutes before they will break off. But looking a tiny bit closer, it's really flexible plastic, and then the fact that they collapse, I actually have pretty high hopes. This body splits up in 2 halves, so the bed section is actually separate from the cab section. It comes with 2 LEDs pre-installed in the front, but you can install even more if you choose to go that route. For example, Proline has a ton of LED light stuff out more recently that will perhaps fit your needs in case you want to add some tail lights or add more indicator lights, fog lights, stuff like that. Now, if you look inside, what's pretty cool about this is that if you do take this bed section off, for example, you can tell that it continues pretty far down. And let me just grab this cage. Then, for example, this, well, whether you use like a Proline cage or any other type of cage, this would bolt right on without having like a hideous gap appearing below that rear window. So I think that's pretty cool. This will actually be an option that I will be installing most likely, just because I love the look of this thing. Well, continuing on. A lot of branding going on, so that the Element RC with that with a way marker, some stickers in to indicate where the door handle would be. This is a really crisp looking body. So for something that they basically cooked up themselves, I think they really did a great job, and this is a successful design as far as I'm concerned. There's a ton of cool stuff going on this chassis. For example, the front, it has behind the axle steering. So just like you would find on, for example, HPI Venture, the steering link is actually sitting behind the axle, so it doesn't interfere with your approach angle anymore. 3-link suspension in the front. These are, I believe, nickel plated steel links, so they won't rust up immediately. They look really good and they are very rigid. Chassis mounted servo. The servo puts out more torque than any ready to run servo to this date. They really pride themselves in that fact as well. So I think that's really cool. So I believe at 6 volts it puts out 12.5 kilos, which is almost double of what some of the other servos that I have had in some of my trucks have been doing. So that is that's really cool. This is a really branded servo with like a metal body, and you will also see that right next to that servo you got room to put another servo. Now why is that? That's in case you want to install a servo winch. So you have over here you have your winch outlet, your fair lead, whatever you want to call that. If you have then a servo winch sitting right here, that balances it out really nicely as well. But it's nice that they actually think about stuff like that and that they include a pocket for it that is completely ready, set to go. Really well done. You could tell that this is done by people who have really done their homework. Wheels and tires, method licensed wheels, they're gold, but the hub comes off. So you can take 6 screws out and you completely separate the wheel from the hub. But if you want to weigh them down a tiny bit, then it is pretty easy. Just take them off that hub, wait for somebody to come up with some brass hubs that are like a bit over-dimensioned. Have some weight to them. Mount those and well, you're good to go. I like the thread pattern as well on these grabber tires. The shocks, they come with some hard plastic caps, but they're aluminum bodied. Also the adjustment ring on them is also aluminum. They feel pretty good. I think the pumpkin size on these axles is pretty reasonable. All of the hardware is mounted in the back. If you are, like me, experiencing a lot of rock rash just from smashing a pumpkin into rocks and off cliffs and in water and whatnot, you don't have to worry about not being able to open up the pumpkin just because all the hardware is in the back. You'll still be able to get your Allen key in there. This is an aluminum extrusion inside this this drive shaft, front and back. So they're actually a 3-piece. The front has universals, so you do not have to worry about that either. That is not a dog bone type of construction. So really it ticks all the boxes in terms of them having done their homework. Here you see that gearbox. Again, if you want to tune this, just open it up, install those different gears, and you will have massive overdrive compared to already a pretty reasonable overdrive, which comes out of the box. So out of the box, 5.7% overdrive is what you would have now. That's impossible to demonstrate on a table, but you just need to take my word for it. If you install those other gears, 11.8% will really kick it over the top, and then combined with a true 45-degree steering angle, yeah, I think great. The steering links or the Ackerman links on top of the wheels, those will actually, they're stamped aluminum. I think there's going to be some different options for those available as well. If you want to tweak that and tune it a tiny bit to your liking, you can take those off pretty easily, mount something else and see how that works out for you out on the trails. Radio box is over here. I'm assuming that it is completely waterproof. I guess I will find that out once I actually take the lid off and have a look inside, but I never really have any trouble with my stuff getting like wet or not functioning because I don't fully submerge anything. If you are one of those people who wants to run like a big battery pack, that big battery tray is included. You just take this one off, swap it out for the other one, and you'll be able to fit like a 5,000 milliamp or a 6,000 milliamp battery. This is a 5-pole, 16-turn motor. If I have that wrong, you can hate on me in the comment section. Reedy ESC is actually pretty reminiscent of, for example, the Axial AE5. So this comes with all the plugs already sort of like worked into it. So if you run lights or if you use those headlights that are pre-installed, You can simply hook those up. If you want to change it out as well, I think you'll be able to hook up any type of light kit, which is great because with the AE5 I think you were only limited to the proprietary axial type of stuff. This again comes with 2 plugs, so that's also something that you would know from, for example, an AE5. So that one plug is to set it from LiPo to NIM, and the other one is to adjust the drag brake. It's currently, by the looks of it, it is set up as a 50% drag brake. I'm going to set it up as 100% just because I like that way better. I like the link ends as well. That's a very flat skid plate, especially considering what's going on inside that gearbox. That gearbox, it does poke up a tiny bit. I think that's the only concession that you need to do just in order to have all that reduction going on and have like all those that overdrive going on as well in the front. I'm not sure, but I don't think that that's a big deal at all. You'll still be able to fit an interior panel inside this truck. I will try to prove that in one of my future videos. Oh, that's actually going to be really easy because there's more than enough room to fit like a 2D interior. So one of those Lexan interiors will fit in here with great ease. Again, a fantastic looking truck. I love what they did over here. I like the molded grille. I like the body shape. I like those method wheels, and I like the general tires. I think this has a lot of potential. I cannot wait to see how this thing performs, especially with that built-in overdrive. That's really something that I'm really looking forward to trying. Well, I hope you found this an informative video, an unboxing with an inside outing and a new truck, a brand new brand, new manuals, new logos, everything super cool. Go check everything out in the video description box. I will make sure that there's a link to this Element RC Enduro Sendero, and you can check out all of the information right there. I'm pretty sure that I forgot a ton of stuff. If I did, you have to forgive me. Let me know in the comments box if I did. If you have any questions as well, let me know in the comments box. If you have not subscribed yet, please do. It's free. If you wonder why I'm not putting out a lot of videos, it's because I'm building a massive workshop in the back of my house. I'm pointing at it right now. I'm looking at it. It looks fantastic. I'm so happy that I'm about to like start on the inside. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, links are also in the description box. You will have seen me stand in front of it with a hammer in my hand. No, I didn't have a hammer in my hand, but I could have had a hammer in my hand. All that stuff just so I can make better videos. So in the future you won't see me here anymore. I might move the curtain there actually, just because otherwise I might miss it. But it's closing in on looking really good out there. I haven't made any Workshop Wednesdays videos. I do have 1 or 2 or 3 of them standing ready. I'm not sure when I'm going to drop those, just because I've been so focused on getting my workshop done and making it look good. And I do not believe that you can do 5 things well at the same time. So currently I'm just focusing on the carpentry. So if this was a tiny bit of a rusty unboxing, forgive me, next one will be better. Massive thanks to Team Associated and to Element RC for granting me a first look at this Enduro. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Back on.